Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, taking a fun and exciting video for you guys today, because we're taking a look at the demo that just recently released for Tail and Hat, developed by a developer named Woodfrog. And to say this is one of the most promising Super Nintendo games I've seen in 2026 would be an understatement. It absolutely nails the brief of being a fun 2D action platformer, and it really does give you a taste of what's to come. And honestly, we see a lot of new Sega Genesis games, but not as many on the Super Nintendo side of things. That definitely is exciting to see. Before I get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. And if you're wondering, this is Till, and very shortly they're going to get their hat. And if this just isn't Noel Fielding, I don't know who it is. Honestly, that's the vibe I am getting from the sprite, but you leave me a comment down below. The first thing you're going to notice about Till and Hat is absolutely it has a very particular vibe, going for almost like a Soviet Russia style graphic design. You get those deep reds, you get kind of that oppressive black and gray in the background. This game has a very particular art style, and I really do think I love it. As well as the moveset is absolutely just going to give you so many different ways to traverse the levels. Now I'm going to get into each and every one of these mechanics a little bit deeper in the video, but honestly, between the look and the feel of this game, as well as the fact that it is just straight up fun as hell, it really does have a ton of promise, and I can't wait to see what the full game brings us. Because that really is the thing. This is why retro gaming is making a comeback. We're not only getting a bunch of recomps and PC ports of classic retro games, we're also getting developers making brand new games on retro hardware. And honestly, Till and Hat is definitely one of the more impressive ones I've seen in a while. I love how Till moves throughout the world, being able to dash, being able to scale on walls. Kind of feels a little bit like Mega Man X, except in a completely different universe. And the traversal of the levels is going to be every bit as hard as actually attacking the enemies as well. You have to really read the screen and understand exactly how to move safely. And in some ways, even though it doesn't remind me of it visually, kind of has a little bit of Top Hunter, Roddy and Cathy vibes on the Neo Geo AES and MVS as well, at least in the way you can move. And you got some real fun Mode 7, at least I believe Mode 7 in there as well. As the screen rotates, kind of giving it a Super Ghouls and Ghosts vibe as well. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me, so far just seeing the first 2 minutes of this footage, how do you feel about this one? I feel like everyone is going to be excited about it, and I can't think of anything that would not make people happy. Now, obviously I said Noel Fielding here is Till, so obviously he has to find his hat in the world somewhere, and you're going to find this magic hat. And again, some of these animations here, the over-the-top kind of cartoonish slapstick nature of them, definitely big Top Hunter, Roddy and Cathy vibes. But I just love seeing new games get developed because honestly, there is still so much life left in the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and every other 16-bit console. And I love just seeing people kind of play around with the hardware and seeing what else they can get. And this one definitely feels like it's inspired by a lot of things, even if maybe I'm just seeing them where they're not. But definitely some treasure vibes going on here as well. And that really is the thing. We have such a strong lineage of amazing 16-bit games, so why not borrow a little inspiration from each and every one of them to basically create a brand new property that feels like something, had it come out on Super Nintendo, would have gotten like 9.5 out of 10s. Now, of course, this is just a demo, but I'm highly assuming that the quality will hold throughout the entire development, because this is just going to be the first 2 stages. But I want way more of Till and Hat. I want to see where this game is going. And I will say the visuals definitely have a good Super Nintendo feel to them as well. And I appreciate that the colors both vibrant, but also not trying to throw every color on screen at once. And I'm pretty sure that dude there was just wearing some Eastern European Adidas track style get-ups. And that again is kind of the fun part about this game. It has a personality, it has a sense of place and charm, and it kind of feels like something that we've never actually seen before, at least on the overall theming of the game. It's one of those things, maybe people would like a little bit more color in it, but sometimes it is nice to actually be restrictive into what you do in the art design phase, versus just throwing absolutely everything at the wall and seeing what will stick. Well, let's do a soundtrack sample in just a moment, because as good as this game looks and as great as it controls, it also has some incredible sound. But you'll see there we did switch the weapon up. It's going to give you multiple ways to actually interact with the world, kind of feeling a little bit like Contra as well. And that again, when I compare to all of these games, they're some of the best of all time, and that is a good thing. Here comes the soundtrack sample, and I'll be right back. Definitely some big Super Nintendo vibes in the soundtrack, and I think it works perfectly in context of what we're seeing and playing on the screen. But I will say the number one thing about Tilt and Hat, the thing I want to get more in depth in, is the overall movement tech here. You have a run, you have a jump, you have a dash, you're able to hold onto the ceiling. There's so many different ways to traverse the world in Tilt and Hat, and I think that might be the game's strongest actual viewpoint as far as a new game development is concerned. It isn't just running right and shooting everything in front of you. It has so many different ways to move, dash around, and try to keep yourself safe. That really does aid in the game just feeling that much more special, and in some ways kind of feels a little bit like Metal Slug as well. And it really is interesting. The more I play around with this demo, the more I see different games in it, and every single time I see a different game within it, it's reminding me that I absolutely love the game it is feeling inspired by. But you leave me a comment down below and you tell me, if you could compare this to one game that you think is the most similar, which one would it be? But you'll see here, sliding around the world, that traversal definitely is going to be the name of the game, at least in these first two levels. And this kind of heat wave effect here with those pseudo transparencies, the dithering effects, absolutely just create such a living, breathing world. And that is not easy because, of course, in 16 bits, you are limited to what you can actually do as far as the graphics are concerned on a 16-bit console. So being creative and actually making the art design and overall stylings work within the context of the hardware limitations is not an easy thing, but it's super successful here. And if you can't tell, basically the performance seems rock solid stable all the way across the board on Tilt and Hat. Really haven't seen this thing slow down in any way, shape, or form, and that is great. And I will say some of the more exotic enemy designs here as well, they really are a fun time. And that kind of is what I'm getting from Tilt and Hat. The personality and vibe here are so unique and so fun, it just makes me want to experience more. And trust me, I play a lot of these different new game demos to see whether or not they could make videos on the channel. And more often than not, I think, well, they're trying really hard and they do have something, but it really isn't anything that I'm quite ready to talk about in video form yet. But when I played around with Tilt and Hat, I absolutely knew I wanted to make it a video. A big thanks to Kilter Music for helping with the capture as well, because oftentimes I will send these games to people that help me so that they can play it. We can kind of talk about our overall impressions of the game. That way I'm not just talking about these new game developments in a vacuum, because I like to keep other people around to kind of at least play it. Even if they don't capture it, they can kind of talk to me about it, and we can kind of just coalesce those thoughts back and forth. And this boss right here definitely feeling very Metal Slug inspired on the Metal Slug 3 side of things. But I love that developers are making new games, and I love when they're coming out as good as Tilt and Hat. This is the type of thing I want to see a cartridge produced by some company in conjunction with a developer so I can put this thing on my shelf and pop it into a real Super Nintendo. And just so you know, this will work on real hardware, it'll work on software emulation, and it'll work on MiSTer FPGA, but this was captured via a Super Nintendo with a flash cart. Let's do one more soundtrack sample because, again, the music in this game every bit as good as the graphics and every bit as good as the gameplay and movement tech. I'll be right back to tell you a little bit more about the game and where you can find the demo today. But enjoy the music as it is quite good. Amazing music, amazing gameplay, and a really fun Mode 7 visual effect here on this bonus stage. But if there is one thing I will say, the control here is ever so slightly a little bit trickier than you would expect it to be. It is something that I'm sure in a full game you'll kind of get your head wrapped around, but when the first time you see it, you're kind of going to be a little bit tripped up as to how to actually control your character and be successful. But with the background rotating with all of these fun graphics and the Mode 7 being employed, you can tell that Woodfrog absolutely tried to utilize every single bit of horsepower and visual technique that the Super Nintendo has in store for it, and that definitely is a fun time. This one feels like a special development. If you want to play the demo, the link is in the description below. This is definitely something I will review when the full version comes out, because if the rest of the game is as good as the first two stages, we are in for a very big Super Nintendo treat. But like always, leave me your thoughts down below. I would be curious, but we're done. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.